You have an opportunity in the trial, in the difficulty that you're going through, to be an inspiration to others, to be an encouragement, to be an example to others. I love this passage in Philippians 1 where Paul, who is in prison, is trying to encourage the Philippians, and he notes that many of the brothers, trusting in the Lord because of his imprisonment, have far more boldness and ability to speak the word of God without fear. Hey, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, and would you share this video with somebody right now? Thank you. And back to the content. Apparently these individuals saw Paul, the difficulties he was going through, and they took inspiration by Paul and by his example of him stepping out in faith and being bold and speaking the truth. And because of that inspiration, they have far more courage to speak the word of God. This is a great encouragement for us, and it should be, that when we find ourselves in a place of trial, in difficulty, when there's a challenge in our life, how do you respond to that challenge? Sometimes in our lives we may be down in the face, we may be discouraged, we may find ourselves complaining and grumbling and whining. We may find ourselves in a place where our whole goal is just to be alleviated and be out of the difficulty that we find ourselves in. And certainly there's a place for us, if we're in difficulty, to seek God and ask relief for that. But sometimes that doesn't come. Sometimes, because we're doing the right thing, we may find ourselves in a challenging situation. And then the question is, what do we do in that situation? Well, we can either be a bad example and a discouragement to others, or we can be an inspiration by our faith. When was a time in your life where you faced that difficulty and other people around you saw that and were encouraged? I know there have been times in my life where I faced physical challenges and difficulty, and when I was in the midst of those challenges, one of the things I thought to myself was, this isn't just about me getting out of this, but it's about me living out my faith and walking by faith and trusting God and being an encouragement and an inspiration to others. There's opportunities, more so when we're going through trials. You know, anybody can be happy and have joy when everything's going good, everything's going fine, I have everything that I need. But when you get punched in the gut, when you have some major loss, when something comes into your life that you weren't expecting, that's the time where we really have the opportunity to walk by faith, to be an inspiration to others, to show others what it means to walk by faith in the midst of the darkness, in the midst of the difficulty, in the midst of the challenges that you face. And that's why I think it's so important that we take this example of Paul, that he was in prison and he was realizing those around him were inspired by that example. My challenge to you is that if you're in a difficult situation right now, that you don't just seek to get out of it, but begin to pray and think about, okay, Lord, I'm in this situation. How can I be an inspiration? How do I need to walk through this? It's not just about me and what I'm going through and woe is me, but it's how can I be that inspiration to others and to show them by my faith what it means to walk through difficulty, that God can bring us through the difficulties and through the trials, and that I can be that example to somebody right now of how to walk by faith and how to trust God and how to, as Paul has said in Philippians, rejoice in the Lord always. Not just when things are going well, but all the times, to find our joy and our peace and our contentment in the Lord. I just pray and I hope and I encourage you to think about the idea of, how am I impacting others by walking through this difficulty or trial? You can be an inspiration to them. You can be an encouragement. And I pray that you would do that and that God would bless you and give you joy as you are that encouragement to others.